The frozen skies above the Arctic are fast becoming one of the most contested regions in global security, as Russian military flights near Alaska continue to trigger strong reactions from the United States and its allies. What once seemed like routine Cold War encounters has returned with renewed force, underscoring how the rivalry between Washington and Moscow is again spilling into dangerous territory. This week, American and Canadian forces moved to intercept Russian aircraft that were tracked flying close to Alaska. According to the North American Aerospace Defense Command, NORAD, radar detected two Russian Tu-95 strategic bombers accompanied by two Su-35 fighter jets inside the Alaskan Air Defense Identification Zone, ADIZ. While the ADIZ is not sovereign U.S. airspace, all aircraft entering are required to identify themselves to avoid being treated as potential threats. To respond, NORAD scrambled 9 American aircraft, including 4 F-16 fighter jets, 1 E-3 early warning surveillance plane, and 4 KC-135 refueling tankers. U.S. officials later stressed that the Russian planes did not enter U.S. or Canadian territory and posed no immediate danger. Still, the Pentagon described the incident as part of a troubling pattern of Russian military behavior that has accelerated in recent months. Reuters reported that this was the 3rd interception in September and the 9th since the beginning of 2025, suggesting Moscow is deliberately stepping up its aerial activity near North America. The BBC noted that the Tu-95 bombers, which are capable of carrying nuclear weapons, are often deployed not only to test American reaction times, but also to remind Russian citizens that their military remains powerful despite heavy losses in Ukraine. The Washington Post quoted defense analysts who argued that Russia's Arctic flights form part of a wider strategy to project military strength near U.S. borders. With new Russian bases and expanded patrol routes in the high north, experts say the U.S. and Canada have little choice but to remain on constant alert. The Alaskan ADIZ is among the most sensitive zones in the world, covering vast stretches of remote sky, but lying uncomfortably close to Russian Far East bases. This episode unfolded at a time of fiery rhetoric from U.S. political leaders. Former President Donald Trump, addressing supporters earlier this week, insisted NATO members must be ready to shoot down Russian aircraft if their airspace is violated. His words received mixed responses across Europe. Some allies saw them as a strong deterrent, while others feared they could risk unnecessary escalation, according to CNN. Meanwhile, in Europe, Russian airspace violations have fueled more unease within NATO. Poland confirmed it had shot down Russian drones that crossed into its territory, while Estonia reported a Russian fighter briefly entering its skies earlier this month. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg responded firmly, saying the alliance would defend every inch of its borders and warning Moscow not to underestimate Western resolve. France 24 highlighted that Russia oftentimes its bomber patrols near North America with political or military flashpoints elsewhere. By flying nuclear-capable aircraft near U.S. territory, Moscow signals that the war in Ukraine has wider consequences and that Russia will not be cornered by sanctions or Western pressure. These flights, analysts argue, are as much about political theater as they are about military preparedness. At the same time, Trump has tried to present himself as a possible mediator in the Ukraine conflict. He even claimed after a meeting with Vladimir Putin in Alaska last month that he was exploring a framework for peace talks involving Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. But according to The Guardian, Kremlin officials quickly dismissed those remarks, saying Moscow had no interest in negotiations under current conditions. The risks of these encounters remain high. Military experts warn that even professional pilots can misinterpret signals, fly too close, or miscalculate maneuvers, leading to a dangerous escalation. The New York Times noted that during the Cold War, several such interceptions ended in near disasters, and with today's heightened geopolitical tensions, the margin for error is even smaller. For the U.S. and its allies, keeping the Arctic skies secure has become not just a military necessity, but a symbol of deterrence against Moscow.